I'm Rabbi Alanna Sklover.
So I'm here today to interview Rabbi Alanna on a few questions that we've thought of over the past few weeks.
Great.
What is diverse about GJC, do you think?
Oh, great. So that's a really good question, Zivia. There are a lot of different ways, I think, to think about diversity at GJC. The thing that's, I think, most obvious to people when they first come here is that we have lots and lots of services at the same time on, like, any given Shabbat morning. There's the main service in the Cherry. There's Minyan Masorti, which is traditionally egalitarian, in the canteen room, and Dorshei Derech, the Reconstructionist Minyan, in the Maslow Auditorium. And so one of the first things that I think people think of when they think of GJC and diversity is diverse ways of being Jewish. But I think that that's only the tip of the iceberg, because GJC also has a lot of LGBT families, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals and families. GJC also welcomes Jews of color. We have a lot of biracial families, and we're also very welcoming to people who've converted into Judaism. And I think that one of the things that's cool is that GJC actually has a growing population also of folks who've come here from other countries, and especially in our nursery school program. So I think there are lots of ways to think about GJC as a diverse community.
Another question would be, I know you feel like you're being inclusive, but are the measures you take to be inclusive, could they be taken differently by the includees?
What do you mean by taken differently by?
Like, if you mean to be inclusive, but they don't feel included by what you're doing?
That's true. That's a really, really good point, because when inclusion is something that we do to someone, it doesn't work very well. Inclusion is about with. It's about working with an individual person to figure out how they best want to be in community. And I think that one of the things that I can most point to is folks with special needs, especially in our Hebrew school and our nursery school programs. Whenever we try to set up a system for somebody else and not with somebody else, it never works quite as well. And can we do better? Yeah, totally. I think we can always do better, and I think that it's about working as a team to figure out how we can continue to be not just more inclusive, but a community that feels like everyone works together to support one another. Where everyone feels like they can be unique instead of some people feel like they're different. Because that's not very inclusive at all.
Do you think that diversity can be split up into a category of good or bad? Or that situations could be split up into a category of good or bad?
You know, I don't think that diversity can be something that's either good or bad, but I do think that there's a mistake that we make when sometimes we talk about diversity. Because I think that sometimes we say, yay, we have such a diverse community, isn't this wonderful? We've taken these 3 steps in order to make people feel really included and wonderful, but then we get really proud of ourselves and we stop. And I think that when we stop, it becomes bad.
Do you have any specific ways that you think that we could improve?
That's a great question. I think that one of the ways that I personally improve and try to improve is by thinking about the kinds of words that I use to describe people and to describe groups of people. One of the things that I used to do when I started teaching was when I was breaking the room up into groups, I would say, okay, let's do this, let's have this game and do boys versus girls. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that not everyone who I think of as a boy or as a girl might think of themselves as a boy or as a girl. And when I made that shift, I felt like I was growing as a person and acknowledging the gender diversity that might be in my classroom that I might not even notice. And the ways that by labeling students the way that I saw them, it wasn't very affirming at all of their own identity. And so ways like that are ways that I'm always trying to grow, and ways that I always am trying to sort of push others, and not just push others, but help others to grow. So that's sort of one example.
How do you think Christmas affects Jews?
Ooh, great question. That's a huge question. Well, sometimes Christmas affects Jews because it's a holiday that they celebrate with their family, because a lot of our families celebrate multiple religious traditions within their larger families, and even sometimes within their immediate families. Christmas, I think, also affects Jews because it has a huge influence on Hanukkah and the way that we celebrate Hanukkah in the United States. And I think that Christmas affects all of us because it creates a shift within the larger American culture where suddenly people are wishing each other happy holidays and Merry Christmas and being joyful. And I think that that bleeds over also into the Jewish community and sort of how we all view this holiday season. But I think that regardless of how each of us celebrates Christmas, what I think Christmas does within the context of our Hebrew school and within our community is it helps us to lift up and notice the ways that our different families honor traditions differently. I think about one kid who I talked to a couple of years ago who said, well, we celebrate Hanukkah at our house, but we always celebrate Christmas at my grandmother's house. And one of the reasons that we celebrate Christmas at my grandmother's house is because it helps her to have a merrier Christmas when we're there celebrating with her. And I think that that's a really, really beautiful story of what it means to be a Jewish kid today.
Do you think everyone is diverse? How?
Ooh, this is one of my favorite questions, actually. When I was little, I had friends who described themselves as half Jewish. That they were half Jewish and half Christian, or half Jewish and half Muslim, or half Jewish and half atheist because my dad doesn't really believe in anything, or
I have
whatever.
a friend like that.
Yeah.
Who has a family of Judaism but feels she's atheist and is pretty upset about it.
Cool, awesome. But like being half Jewish or a quarter Jewish or an eighth Jewish, I think personally isn't a thing. Because I think that you can identify as someone who's totally Jewish and only have one Jewish parent, or no Jewish parents, or only one Jewish grandparent. And instead of talking about people being half Jewish or a quarter Jewish or an eighth Jewish or 100% Jewish or something, I like to think about Jewish identity as how everybody has different pluses, different extra things that make them unique. That we're all Jewish kids here at GJC Religious School, but we all have different pluses. Some of our pluses are that our families come from Guatemala. Some of our pluses are that we were born in, like, Las Vegas and now live in Philadelphia. Some of our pluses are that we have a dad or an uncle or a grandfather or a grandmother or someone else who has a different religion. Some of our pluses can be about being biracial. Some of those pluses can be having a parent who's transitioned to a different biological sex or who identifies as a gender that's different from the one that they present in the world. We all carry around all of these different pluses. Some of these pluses can, either be someone who has special needs or have a brother or sister with autism. That we all have different pluses which make us each unique and help us to create a community that's much more interesting than if we were all exactly the same. Yeah, that's definitely going to be in the blooper reel. This just in, more questions. I can't even talk today.